I guess, and I guess we are after 1993, so like I don't
Yeah,
know.
because girls born after 1993 is where this data set is coming from, you know?
Right,
So yeah,
right.
it's very different than if we were doing like pre 1993, for example.
Yeah,
Yeah, of
yeah.
course.
And I mean, it is super rare that all the things come together. There are hot chips just laying on a table, like her phone is charging,
Right, right, right.
and like, yeah, I mean, the twerking part is the hardest part, I think, too.
Right,
Like that
because
that never comes into the question.
yeah, yeah, not necessarily because that really depends on like upbringing especially as well as just the fad of the time because I mean, I'm sure you have noticed the
Exactly.
decline in twerking as of recently. Thank goodness I'm not seeing it all the time anymore, you know. And you know, um the charging of the phone as well, like that only matters if you're born after 1993, but also are born before a certain age as well. So let's say 2018, because, you know, if you're 7 years old, my bad, and have a phone, like personally, I might see that as a little bit of a problem. So after 1993, but post 2018 or pre 2018, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Post COVID,
Yeah.
that's when hot chips like really started taking off.
Oh yeah.
Like like we saw some people eating hot chips, but it wasn't the rage.
Yeah,
But I
not
don't know if people
nearly the quantity we do now. Yeah.
I don't know if people still get recommended twerking compilations on YouTube. I feel like that's not a thing anymore. So where do they learn to twerk in an era where you have everything else, the hot chips, the phone charging, I just don't think the knowledge is there.
Right. And I
They need
mean,
like some kind of almanac for that.
right. And while, it's definitely a product of your surroundings, um I think just twerking in general is on the decline because, people are realizing that it's ratchet, you know?
Bro, oh yeah, yeah. I think yeah, especially homeschoolers are very well aware of that.
Totally. Yeah. Connect that back to the beginning. I like that. Well done. Yeah,
Thank you.
especially homeschoolers, they just kind of, they aren't exposed to that level of ratchetity
Right,
if
they're
you get
almost
me.
scared of it.
Yeah, as they should be. It's ratchet. It's as simple as that. What were
I
you
would
gonna say,
almost
Jaden?
say
Yeah.
that all of the twerkers, shall we call them, uh, have either killed themselves or died of alcohol poisoning at this point.
Yeah,
So
especially
there's
if
not
they were
really anyone to
born.
continue on the legacy.
Yeah,
It's kind
especially
of a
if they were
dying
born
cause.
around 1993, those people are
Exactly.
old enough to drink and just kind of, yeah, like you said, they just they either
Killing
grew up or
themselves.
they passed away. Yeah, exactly.
Here's where I run into a snag, okay?
Mhm.
Here's where I run into a snag.
Here's my
Okay,
kerfuffle.
so homeschooling is all about instilling traditional values into your kid before they get brainwashed in typical public school, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's possible.
Yeah,
I would love to hear
cooking,
your argument.
yeah. Um to tie that back in with twerking, another like value that is instilled in young homeschoolers is modesty, and so the twerking kind of gets left out there, of course. But
Modesty, okay.
back to the cooking, yeah. Um, yeah, if you can't cook and you're born uh after 1993, um, like what do you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. And to tie that in with the homeschooling, um, the biggest part of homeschooling is setting your kids up for a successful future. And so lacking
I mean, not
that,
always the case. I would argue.
not always the case, but that was the initial goal behind uh, the
Sure,
the
sure.
dawn of homeschooling. Yeah. And now, what you were saying about cooking, and setting up for success and modesty and and good values and whatnot. I mean, just when you're born after 1993, but before 2018, and that was crazy, by the way. Um, and you do have if you're in the situation where you're of the age where you do have a phone, you did grow up eating hot chips,
Yeah.
and you have the skill of cooking, and you grew up when twerking was a popular activity. Um, I mean, really, what do we expect? But for at
Yeah.
least
What's stopping you?
one of those trials, if we did say 100, at least one of them would be bisexual.
Is this a fever
I
dream?
I think it's a sound argument. I think it's a sound. I think, I would like to get Big Blue Austin's opinion because I feel like he would have a very nuanced take about this.
Yeah, he would definitely have some good things to say. I think he's an intelligent guy who does his research and really looks into the root of the problem, and he could have some insight on that. I
I
think we
think it's
should.
important because he's like the opposite. I mean, yeah, he was born after 1993, but he can cook. I mean, we've seen he can
Oh, I
cook.
have seen him cook. Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
right, right. And I mean, I've never seen him twerk personally, but like, it'd be pretty funny. But like, I don't
I'm
know.
sure he'd thrown it back a couple of times in the privacy of
Yeah,
his
yeah,
own
yeah, yeah,
home,
yeah.
right?
And he's definitely eaten hot
Definitely
chips
the
for
hot chips. We've both been in his
Yeah.
presence eating the hot chips, and some
So what?
he has lied because he's just human. It's just kind of a part
Right,
of being
right.
human, and I'm sure a lot of his lies were for the betterment of a group. He definitely is the
Oh,
type of guy
totally.
who, yeah, he's definitely the type of guy who looks out for others. So I think we should send this over to him and see what he has to say about it.
Yeah, let's put a pin in it. I'd love to discuss it more. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I just am on the side that it's just too uncommon. The pieces would be, I mean, out of 100, I mean, there's still no chance that it all comes together. But I mean, maybe he has some experience with it, especially he's been digging into sort of you know, interests of people who were actually born after 1993. I'm sure he would have
Right.
some sort of idea.
Right, right. He's been delving into Avatar and The Last
Yes,
Airbender
yeah,
and The
shows that are
Last of
very
Us. Yeah,
popular.
among that right age group, people born after
Oh yeah,
1993 but pre 2018. Um,
for sure,
yeah, for sure.
100%.
But so just to be absolutely clear, my standpoint is if we had 100 people born after 1993, I think that at least one of them would be bisexual, having experienced the twerking, the cooking, um, and charging their phones. And you disagree with that? You don't think 1 out of 100
I
would be
disagree. I
bisexual?
think I think if you took the size of basically someone who hasn't been in public school, that's what we're defining as homeschool.
Yeah, yeah.
There is a almost zero. I don't want to say zero because I feel like I mean obviously the infinite chimpanzee theorem
Right, right,
does state that eventually, but what
right.
I'm trying to say is with the limited number of people on earth and the limited number of people in homeschool, you are not going to find a homeschooler who is born after 1993, can't cook, eats hot chips, twerk, be bisexual, and lies. I mean, the important part is be bisexual
Right,
because
right. That's
ultimately
the end
that's
all, yeah.
that's the contrasting theorem homeschool, I would say, traditional value.
Yeah, and
So
your
there you
argument
go.
is very sound, and you're starting to sway me a little bit, simply because, as you point out, the infinite chimp theorem is dependent on having unlimited time
Yeah,
frames. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
that's very smart of you. I like that argument. Like we've been saying, I'd be interested to see what Big Blue Austin has to say about that.
He's really the expert on these types of things. Like I really don't I honestly can't say heads or tails until I hear what he says, really.
Right, right. His opinion and his insight is just that important to the scientific community, especially the scientific community of people born after 1993, So
But before
both
2018.
right, right. Both a topic he is experienced in personally and professionally.
Yeah, I mean he's literally had like I mean his radio show was totally centered around that age group. So I would say
Right, right.
like Of course, I don't know the full details. I mean, even going back to Appa Beats days, like he was
Right.
sort of appealing to that kind of crowd. So it's
Yeah.
definitely the part of the crowd he's most interested in.
Yeah, he's always definitely been, he's had his opinions and his beliefs and he stands by them. Even like you said in the Appa Beats days when he had a lot to say, So, yeah, I like how this is going. But yeah, good stuff.
Let's put a pin in it. Let's pick it up later. I'd love to get to the deeper issue of
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
theorem. I would say.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
What the fuck?
That was the dumbest and most long-winded shit we've ever done.